The Shark Deck.
Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news on the Daily Beast. Sean McCarthy asks, why are male comedians so scared to talk about Louis C.K? Sean wrote a nice opinion piece about that. Some of the paragraphs, Sean writes, actor Michael Ian Black, who received plenty of pushback online in 2018 when he asked what the parameters might be for C.K. or anyone else to make a professional comeback, suggested to filmmakers of Sorry Not Sorry, the Louis C.K. documentary, that perhaps people are reluctant to come forward and participate in discussions about C.K. or Me Too because everyone has skeletons in their closet. Sean writes, is that what's happening here? Are men in comedy staying silent because they're worried about what we might find out about them? Or are they submitting to some sort of snitches get stitches bro code? The New York Times profiled Shane Gillis. Shane is red hot right now. And they write, getting fired paid off. It made Shane Gillis a martyr to some, and he was savvy enough to embrace those fans without tediously obsessing over cancel culture. He said he understood the criticism of his comments, offered a half-hearted apology, then doubled down on lumbering through the china shop of cultural sensitivities. A comic who tells the crowd he has no female friends isn't looking to appeal to everyone. Gillis often holds the microphone with two hands, more like a singer than a stand-up. His attitude is less telling you the truth about the world and stumbling through the mess of his thought process. His appearance telegraphs rumpled ordinary guy, not polished entertainer, and he speaks to crowds as if he were messing around with friends. Few comics do more with the word dude. In Beautiful Dogs, he describes himself as a bit of a history buff, which he calls a sign of early onset Republican. If you're a white dude in your 20s and 30s and can't stop reading about World War II, it's coming, brother. He compares that to the pull of a person turning into a werewolf. Shane was also recently on Andrew Schultz's Flagrant podcast and was asked about a recent photo of him and Joe Rogan rolling around. Shane said, I tried to fight Rogan last week. Whoops, he ripped my shoulder off and I was hammered, so I was like, you can't tap me, dude. So I kept effing with him. He tapped me like 8 times, dude. He kept going. Joe Pera has a new special coming out based on his recent year-and-a-half-long tour of places like the upper Midwest, the lower Midwest, Buffalo, Scotland, and Phoenix. It's called Joe Pera, Slow and Steady. He's independently financing, producing, and releasing it himself. Let's let Joe Pera tell you about it. I'm going to have to clip this down a little bit because it's quite long.
Hello, I'm comedian Joe Pera, and I got something exciting for you. It's not the winning lotto numbers. It's better. I think it came out real nice. And if you want to watch, you'll hopefully laugh a bit and say, that was a dang good way to spend 56 minutes and 41 seconds. It'll be on my YouTube and website Friday, October 6th, and I hope you'll consider watching.
Joe Pera, Slow and Steady, filmed at the Opera House in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. It'll be on his YouTube channel October 6th at 8 Eastern. A while back, Buc-ees came up, and I remember mentioning that I was unfamiliar with Buc-ees, and quite a few audience members wrote into me to be like, oh, you're totally missing out on Buc-ees. Well, comedian Tim Hawkins has now written a song about Buc-ees. Whiskey Riff writes, if you haven't had a chance to grace a Buc-ees mid-road trip, my thoughts are going out to you. While the gas station is mildly overwhelming at some points, you can't deny it's a must-stop if you pass the sign for one on the interstate. Buc-ees has everything you'd ever need. Food, drinks, snacks, fresh baked goods, brisket, home decor, apparel, booze, and so much more. If you told me that Buc-ees began to sell fishing rods, I'd believe you. Let's listen to what Tim Hawkins has to say. I'll clip this down a little bit as well.
A pile of sauce and beaver nuggets, try a little fudge. Jerky and a pulled pork sandwich just because. Get a leather bolo and a hoodie for the wife. Cast iron frying pan, taffy and a knife. Get some roasted pecans, chewed for the dog. Positive encouragement painted on a log. A large banana pudding, a Cali chicken wrap, a coffee for the journey, a Buc-ee beaver cap. What's up, West Virginia?
Fantastic. This next story, please don't do this. This came, I thought this was dead. This came up years ago, but it's back. Eddie Murphy is in talks to star as Inspector Clouseau in a new Pink Panther reboot. There's just so much wrong there, I won't even get into it. But in this version of the Pink Panther, it'll be a live-action CGI hybrid that follows the actual Pink Panther, you know, the panther that's pink and is a cartoon, the actual Pink Panther being broken out of an animated prison by his live-action crew for a heist, and then I guess Eddie Murphy's Inspector Clouseau would chase. Just don't. The San Francisco Gate said that Seth Meyers closed out 2023's Dreamforce conference in San Francisco. Let me tell you about this. I'm wondering how much Seth got paid for this, because he apparently did custom material, a 40-minute set at the Moscone West Conference Hall. I've been in the Moscone they used to have WonderCon, a Comic-Con type event in that building. That is a big convention center type place. Seth poked fun at vaccine holdouts and wedding tropes, plus waxed about parenthood in New York City and his relationship with sports. All right, that sounds like standard material, but he said, what a crazy room this is. This is like a 5-year-old had a birthday party and said they wanted the theme to be forest. And then he corrected himself, said a 5-year-old billionaire. Meyers went on to pick apart corporate language. He made fun of the recurrent use of the words roadmaps and trailblazers in the conference program. You are achieving, you are amplifying, you are accelerating. Architect, I saw architect used as a verb. I don't even think architects use architect as a verb. If you were at a party and you said, what do you do? And someone said, I architect, you would think, no, you don't. We're going to empower, we're going to experience, we're going to explore. How do we know we're going to explore? The roadmaps. This is some event. Kristen Bell introduced Shang Wang, who I guess opened for Seth Meyers. What? What is this event? Seth said he had no effing idea what Salesforce does, and the crowd roared. All I know is that I'm walking around a carpeted pond at what is likely the beginning of a pagan ritual, and it will end with you setting me on fire while you join hands and dance around me in a circle. Jim Gaffigan was on Bill Maher's podcast. I'm still picking away at that. They were discussing relationships in general, and Jim started talking about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. You know them. We talk about them every day on the podcast Palace Intrigue. I'm the writer for that show. If you want to follow the royals, Palace Intrigue, wherever you get your shows. Jim said, like, if Prince Harry and Meghan Markle got divorced right now, people would probably vilify her and feel sorry for him. But we don't know what's going on. Bill said, I heard they're on the rocks. Wouldn't you think that marriage is under a lot of pressure right now? Because they're kind of effed up in their whole thing, you know? They kind of went way too hard on, we're victims. And they assessed the mood of their generation and America correctly, and that we're lovers of victimhood. But America did finally find a way to say, you know what? We love victims, but you too. Just had a little too much of it. Universal Music Group Nashville has a new comedy label, Capital Comedy Nashville. The first release, Nate Bargatze's Hello World audio album, now available. That means that will be eligible for an Emmy. A suit at UMG said, we've been forever linked going back to the early days of the Grand Ole Opry and classic country shows like Hee Haw, where comedians shared billings with musical acts and helped us laugh at ourselves. I feel there's no better time to relink our comedy history together with the start of our new label, Capital Comedy Nashville. I'm all in favor of comedy audio releases. On Gossip Corner, will Pete Davidson wind up with Brittney Spears? A source tells Radar Online, now that Pete split from Chase Sweet Wonders, he'd like to make sweet music with Brittney. It might not be a pipe dream. After all, she posted one of his goofy Instagram videos last year and admitted it made her laugh. An insider tells the Enquirer, Pete's a hopeless romantic and loves having a woman on his arm, but he's recently sought treatment again for his mental health issues, and Brittney's navigating her own messy breakup. Pals worry neither of them's in the right headspace to start a new relationship and are convinced their hooking up would be a recipe for disaster. From the San Francisco Standard, more than 46 comedians spent Sunday at Golden Gate Park's Robin Williams Meadow. It was the 42nd annual Comedy Day. Sacramento comic Johnny Taylor said, you know, I gotta say it's an honor to perform in the most ideal conditions for stand-up comedy, outside in broad daylight, with kids around, nothing quite like it. Comedian Karen Braswell said, I can't wait to walk around and check out the food trucks. I'm just gonna hope there's a San Francisco microclimate going on over there and the fish is nice and cold. Connor Lonsdale said, I love Oakland because you see stuff there that you don't really see anywhere else. The other day I saw a city bus run a red light. It wasn't like he missed the yellow or there was like a terrorist making him keep it above 50 miles an hour. He stopped at the light and he was like, screw this, I'm going. I ran it too. I followed him. He didn't stop at a single stop sign or bus stop. He did stop at the liquor store. And that's your comedy news for today. If you like the show, tell a friend about it, huh? I'll meet you back here tomorrow. Thanks.